Welcome to Networking with Nathaniel, a podcast where I get to sit down with movers and shakers in their industries, real estate investors, business owners, just people that are growing. So if that applies to you, if you're an individual that is looking to grow, you've come to the right place. I am Nathaniel Hovsepian, host of Networking with Nathaniel. Go figure. I am a real estate investor. I am a health and wellness coach for busy dads. I am a husband and a father of three amazing little people. But this show is not about me. It's about those people that I mentioned, the amazing movers and shakers who we get to dive into the journeys, the stories, the successes, the struggles, and how they've overcome them and what they've done to get to where they are going. Before I introduce today's guest, if this is your first time here, hang out for a little bit, see if you like the video, see if you like the podcast, then subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any further episodes that we do. Please hit the like button, hit that little thumbs up so we can reach more people. Without further ado, let me introduce today's guest, a social media, I'm going to go off on the edge and say master. He has figured out how to raise capital through his social media channels and promote his businesses. And he's working on getting, I think, his second one. He's getting it to go public. And so I want to welcome to the show, welcome to Networking with Nathaniel, Justin Freishtat.
You nailed it.
I did, yes. Appreciate you being here, buddy. I know that we had a link error, we had a user error, and you rushed to get here on time, and I had dropped the ball essentially. But I like the way you said it. No stress. We're here. We're doing what we got to do.
I even had to run out during the intro and unlock the front door. So
somebody the dogs needed to come in. Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I like to start it out really open-ended, kind of get a feel where, I mentioned the social media and how you're raising capital. Tell me just a little bit about that. What's kind of gotten you to where you're at right now?
Yeah, if I could put one thing on it, it's building the personal brand. That's opened every single door, every single opportunity. Even getting into the industry that I'm in would have never happened if I didn't build the personal brand first. So yes, you have to have all the acumen on the business side, but if you don't have awareness, I mean, everything becomes a people game. Once you understand that, you need to focus on that more than anything else, because you can have all the greatest skills, you can have the greatest product, but if nobody knows about it, none of it matters, right? So better known is always going to beat best. And if you operate by that principle, being well known or having your product well known, whatever that is going to be more important than actually how good it is.
Yeah, interesting. What if you could describe your personal brand? How would you do that?
I would say that I just 100% authentically live out loud. So whatever my life looks like at a given time is what you're going to see. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I'm not hiding from the failures or the setbacks. And I'm not scared to celebrate my success publicly either. And I think that's what creates an authentic brand is, everybody's trying to just show the best parts of their life on social media, hide from the bad stuff, or they're just complexed about what they're doing because they just get into this mental feedback loop of negativity that's just holding us all back. So living authentically out loud. When I first started my personal brand, I had no plan for it. I was in the organic food delivery space. All of my content was about farming and sourcing and supply chains and health. And then, that business got sold to a private equity firm. And now it's, what am I doing next? And that brand will transition with you for whatever you do for the rest of your life. And the people that watch your journey are going to love watching those transitions. And it's going to re-monetize, re-network, whatever word you want to use. But it's something that you build over time. And, when you capture, let's say, a lead from ads and then you convert it, like you got to run the ads again the next day. You got to generate the leads again the next day. When you build a personal brand, you invest in it one time and you capture the following and it's yours forever.
Yeah, there's a lot here. Just in that, 60 seconds you just said. This is coming to me at an amazing time, actually, because I am in the midst of kind of switching my brand, if you want to say, from really, really real estate investor to health and wellness coach for dads while still investing in real estate. So I love that you're saying that we are changing. There's seasons of life, there's iterations to ourselves, and allowing our audience, our following, to come along that journey with us. Maybe you can speak to this. I feel like I'm going to lose some people along the way that are going to be like, no, I was here for real estate. I don't care about your health and wellness coaching. Um, if that's true, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, you're going to have churn on your brand no matter what. So I think the mistake people make here is a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm going to start a new page, a fresh page for this, a fresh page for that." Now you're diluting your focus across 3, 4, 5 pages, like whatever it is, and now you're nothing to anyone, and no one follows you at all. So if you're moving into a space, good. Like, and if someone doesn't like it, good. Unfollow me. I need my new tribe, right? And this is the same thing about people trying to play Switzerland and not take sides on things. Like if you don't take hard stances on what you believe in, you're never going to build an authentic following of people who resonate with that. And then you're going to keep people who are never going to resonate with you anyways. You end up in no man's land, being nothing to no one, right? I'm not trying to be everything to everyone, and I think that's really important. I'm trying to be so authentically me that it gets rid of anybody who doesn't resonate with it and builds a loyal following that has the same values, same ideas, same track that I'm on. And that's when it becomes beautiful. But in the beginning, when you go through these little transitions, you will see drop off. You'll probably get some negative comments. You'll get some hate in your DMs. Good. Like that's a sign of that you're actually relevant. If no one hates you, no one's coming at you, no one's writing bad things about you on the internet or doing YouTube hit pieces on you. Like if you've got none of that going on, you actually haven't done shit.
Yeah, you're not ready yet. Yeah. That's interesting. So it sounds like I should cut the Fit Fatherhood YouTube channel and just continue to focus on mine.
Or just like if that's really what you want to lean into, do both. And if
Yeah.
someone's got a problem, like think about it this way. Anybody who would be against being a better father, being in better shape, like that's not someone you want to be associated
Right.
with anyways.
Yeah. That's not the people I'm going after. You also mentioned that, sharing your struggles and sharing your successes and not being quiet about it. I forget exactly how you worded it, but for people that are just starting out, I'm coming from real estate, right? A lot of the audience that is here, they're real estate investors, they're entrepreneurs. It's difficult to start posting about things when you're like, well, I don't have anything valuable to give. I don't have anything to talk about. And like, just talk about your journey. Hey, what did you do today? What is something that you took away from that? And then it transitions into, well, I just had this big win. Now I'm shy, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't want to talk about this $15,000 check I just made, because people are going to judge me for being bombastic and outlandish about showing my successes. Like, man, we can't win. We can't win on social media. So I love that you say that, because I mean, that's how I started out, is like, what do I talk about? I
Yep.
haven't done anything yet. Who's going to listen to me? Well, you got day one fans that are going to come along for that journey with you. Maybe
Yeah,
they're your parents and your
selfishly
friends
do it
first.
for you. Like when I go
Yeah.
back and look at the things I created in the beginning, it's incredible for me as an individual to look at how far I've come. And guess what? Other people watch that. And this is just an unfortunate thing about the way the world works. Nobody's going to clap for you until it's already
Mm.
done. You've got to
Mm.
be the only one clapping for yourself for a very long time.
Yeah.
That's the price of admission. No one's going to support you in the beginning. Like, and you'll probably have people close to you that are saying like, well, who do you think you are? Or, they'll mock it like, oh, look who thinks he's an influencer. It's like,
Yeah.
if you're unable to tune that out and do it anyways, because you've got a 5-year, 10-year vision and you're not going to stop until it happens. Like that's why 99% of people quit before they get anywhere. It's like, it's supposed to feel like that in the beginning.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's the most beautiful period of time because you're alone in the trenches, knowing that as long as I don't quit, someday it's going to change.
You're talking right to me. Because I'm in that right now, and I've been growing my social medias with the real estate, and like, oh yay, I'm growing, I'm having success there, and now I I'm making this transition. I have some questions. We're gonna go to a unapologetic
If
fit
you're a
father.
busy dad or you know one that is looking to focus on their health and their wellness, the Fit Fatherhood community might be just for you. It's said that when we have our health, it frees us up to have many, many goals, but when we don't, we only focus on the one. So we're focused on keeping our health and wellness as a top priority in Fit Fatherhood. We've built this community of busy dads, all like-minded, looking to grow and flourish and be great examples for our families of what health and wellness looks like. So if that's you, or you know somebody who that might be for, follow the link in the description and come join the Fit Fatherhood Facebook group today. Let's get back to the show.
So you're growing these social medias, you're becoming an influencer, you're already an influencer. I mean, whether you like it or not, whether it's 5 people or 100,000 plus people, you're influencing somebody. What are you working towards right now? What are you raising capital towards?
Yeah, we're raising a bunch of capital on the private side. We just finished up a friends and family round for a publicly traded company I'm on the board of. It's called Safe Space Global. The stock ticker is SSGC. Company's got no debt. We didn't need to raise capital there, but we are in the process of applying to uplist onto either the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange. So there's a bunch of boxes you have to check on the way there. And one of those boxes was putting, I probably shouldn't say the number, but millions of dollars on the balance sheet. That checks a box on a certain amount of burn rate you have to have, right? So we didn't raise capital because we needed working capital or any of those things. It's nice to have it. You can go make acquisitions. You can do a bunch when you raise capital. But that was just to check a box to uplist, which is really cool. So on that, first time I've ever raised capital into a public company, but private shares. So you've got a public price of the stock that's changing every day. And then you have what's called a volume weighted average price, which is what the private shares are fixed at for a 30-day period. So we had an interesting dynamic where we were raising at, let's say, a certain amount. The stock went up 400%. So now I'm going out to investors and saying, hey, would you like a 400% discount on the public market price? Easiest capital you'll ever raise, right?
Yeah.
So we knocked out a $10 million raise in 3 weeks. Check that box, and now we're just moving towards uplisting. The last thing we have to do is hit a $2 a share price. As of this morning, we're hovering around $1. So once we hit $2, we go uplist on the New York. So that's probably the most exciting thing on the private side. I've been raising capital there for years, and right now we're doing real estate deals, big projects. We just finished a round for the Bend in Chattanooga. That's 120 acres on the water. And we bought that at a $26 million valuation, and CBRE appraised the project at $131 million. Fully developed, that's over $4 billion of real estate. So big projects there. And then as small as we're doing Lions View Estates. Right now, we're raising capital for this deal. That's on the water in Knoxville, Tennessee, next to the Cherokee Country Club. About 4.5 acres. We're going to do 4 luxury single-family homes there. It's the last piece of waterfront to be developed. It's the most valuable piece of property. And there's a 5-year wait list at that country club. So, you know, it's one thing to have a great deal, but one thing that I look at on the private placement side of things is there's no liquidity usually. Like once your capital goes in, until there's a liquidity event on the back end, you're not getting your principal and your money out unless there's a strategic refinance, which happens in certain deals. But with the exit in mind, we're going to pre-sell these homes before we even build them because the demand is so high. So that gives you a lot of confidence on the way in as an investor that you know you're going to be able to exit on the timeline that you want to.
Yeah. Man, you just pack so much into your little snippets.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, especially on the stock, on the going public side of things. What was it? It was Safe Space?
Space Global is the company.
Safe Space Global. Okay. I want to ask what that is, but let's start with that. What is that exactly?
So from a mission product side, like when I get into things, if it's a company, you know, obviously we want to have great margins. We want to make a bunch of money. We always want to be in profit. I'll never deny being a capitalist, but if you can pair that with a mission that is making an impact on the world, that's just a home run in terms of how you get to feel about getting wealthy doing something. So Safe Space checks that box like nothing else. It uses AI, ambient multimodal technology with cameras to save lives. So some use cases of that, let's take a school, for instance. If there's a shooter in the parking lot approaching a school, the AI is going to detect the gun. It's going to send a report to the school resource officer. It's going to alert the authorities. It's going to give them a full report in real time, pictures, description, height, weight, what the type of gun it is, like all of those things. And then it's also going to interlock with the mag lock of the school and lock a school down before a shooter can get in. I mean, we're talking about, a school shooting crisis in this country that we can solve. So when we look at use cases of what you can do with ambient technology, which is just a fancy word for cameras, and integrating AI software into it to solve problems, it's a massive disruptor in the AI space. And then on the money side of it, SaaS companies in the past 10 years have commanded the highest equity multiple in the public markets. You make it an AI SaaS company, it's even higher. It's the highest commanded multiple in the marketplace. So in other words, the marketplace is going to reward you the most in this industry.
SaaS being software as a service, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, I'm somewhat familiar. So this sounds pretty amazing, and this is just, you mentioned the school aspect. This is just one use case for it, right? I could imagine that it would be home security, malls, anywhere, any place can use this technology, and it doesn't even necessarily have to probably be for security purposes.
Yeah,
right.
it does fall detection, right? So like Life Alert, like the wearables, WanderGuard, like older
Wow.
people with dementia will cut them off, take them off. They don't know why they're wearing them, and then they fall, and then they end up dying on the floor, and no one knows. Like the ambient and senior living facilities or in a home, our camera system would do fall detection and then send the text message and the video to whoever needs to get it. And these senior living facilities we're finding are extremely understaffed. Like people go 8, 10, 12 hours without anybody coming to their room. Something bad could happen, and the AI can, help them instantly.
Yeah. Wow. It's a crazy place that we're not crazy in a bad way, in a good way, just where we're going with all this stuff, and how when used positively, right? You can talk negatively about AI, but when used positively, this is going to impact a lot of lives and change things, hopefully for the better for us, allow us to be safer, but more creative, get a lot of free time back, and use our time to, fatherhood, spend it with our family, spend it doing on things that we want to be doing, our highest and best priority. So that's pretty incredible. You mentioned, the whole process for getting to public. You said you have a stock ticker already. I think you said SSGC.
Yep.
How does that work?
Yeah. So to clarify, we are already publicly traded. We went public in what's called a reverse triangular merger, and we're on the over-the-counter markets. There's a ton of markets in this world that are not major exchanges, right?
Yeah.
So the two major exchanges in the United States are the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange. Well, there's thousands of stocks that you can trade right on Fidelity, Schwab, that are, some people call them penny stocks. But we're on the over-the-counter pink sheet market, OTCPK, right? And institutions can't buy your stock when you're there. Broker-dealers can't recommend it. RIAs can't put their clients in it. So the entire institutional world does not invest here. So that's why it's so challenging when you're a company like us, where we've checked every box. We're fully audited and reported as if we're already on the major exchange, right? So we're not going to have any problems uplisting in terms of all the other boxes. We just need enough retail people to believe in our story and come into the stock and take positions to get it to $2 to where we can uplist. And then all the big boys come in. Analysts start covering the stock, institutions make allocations, and the whole public market opens up in terms of big dollars. And then at that point, the stock will trade based off of forward forecasts, analyst expectations, and of course the fundamentals and technicals around the stock. So until you get there, it's really just a bootstrap, I guess is the best way to say it. You got to bootstrap your way onto the New York. And that's why we do a ton of media like this. And if you're lucky enough to hear about a stock like this, that we have every intention of becoming the next AI disruptor, unicorn, billion-dollar valuation on Wall Street. You're hearing about it before it takes place.
Yeah. It sounds like this is a good opportunity if you believe in the company, do your due diligence to get in on kind of the ground floor of something, because when something hits the major indexes, it's not going to stay at $2 for very long. It's going to go up, hopefully.
Right.
Do you have a forecast on when this $2 might hit? Is that something you can even do?
Yeah, so forward guidance is something that I can never give, right? I can't tell you to even go buy the stock. I can't tell you where it's going to go. I can't speculate on any of that. All I can do is tell you the story, tell you what valuations look like for a company like this, and just tell you facts. What's come out in the quarterly filings, press releases. That's really all I can talk about, and then everybody makes their own decision. Where the stock's going. I'll never speculate on that.
Okay. And when you say I can't, is it like literally you can't, or the SEC or something says, hey, you can't talk about this?
No, it's regulations, right? So
Yeah. Okay.
very different than like when I'm raising capital on a private deal, 506C. I can market it. I can give targets, projections, and as long as I clarify that I'm only talking to accredited investors, we don't take money from unaccredited. That's a very clear line in the sand. But when it gets to public markets, it's all about what's been made public and what's private information. I can't tell you about contracts or revenue in the pipeline or anything that's being developed behind the scenes that has not been made public yet. But I can tell you that we dropped a press release last week about a contract with the Kansas City Area Transit Authority about the buses that our cameras and our systems are going into ahead of the World Cup events that are going to be there. We're part of the security at the World Cup. So
Cool.
That I can tell you about. That's part of the story. So it's just a very fine line of, just making sure that we're staying compliant.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I haven't done any funds myself, but there's been a couple people on the podcast already that have talked about it. So I have very limited knowledge, and you have to tread carefully with what you can say. I would also imagine it would be hard for you to forecast when you're going to hit $2 and be able to go get listed, right? I can't. Who knows? It could be tomorrow. Somebody could go, hey, I want, man, networking with Nathaniel podcast was amazing. That Justin, I should buy.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard not to look down at my phone and see where we are the whole time I'm on a podcast. It's like, every 5 minutes. I mean, it's volatile at this level. This thing will go up and down quite a bit. Today we're pretty stable. We're up 2% to 94 cents. In the last month or two, we had a huge run up, over 200% run, and then a little retracement. We were up to $1.59 at the top, and that was in in June. So yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's Q3 is getting going here, and it's really all about just putting revenue on the balance sheet.
How long have you been traded now publicly?
That's a great question. I believe 2017 or 18 is when Scott did the reverse triangular merger, which is basically he was the founder of the company. He was private, and then he merged into a company that was already publicly traded, and then they repackaged it into a new stock ticker, new name. And that's a way to go public as a small company. There's all of these pink sheet penny stock companies that have essentially failed or have flatlined, they're just shells of companies, but they're already public. So you can reverse triangular merger into them and then establish a new entity moving forward. And now you're public.
Yeah. Interesting. Wow. Okay. That's a whole different world than the one I guess it's not that different, but it's different.
It's
what
all
is
just
your
the
role?
process,
Is your role capital raiser? Are you a partner? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, I'm not in the underwriting or the deal, the technical side of these things. I have always had partners for that, and that's what I learned in my first business. Is I don't want to do all these other things in the business. I like to stay in my lane, which is relationships, media, branding, and closing high level prospects. And finding the right people and marrying them with the right deal and getting these deals over the finish line. So that's one thing I've learned is being a great capital raiser is really mostly having the best deal in the marketplace. Nothing changes with me, but when I have a generic deal, like every other syndication out there, 8% pref, 6% cash flow, strategic refi after we force the appreciation. Like everybody's got that deal. So that's been very difficult to raise capital for. It's no different for me, but when I need to raise 10 million for a publicly traded company, or like the Bend where we had an 80% discount to a $1 billion plus project where the LPs have a 5x on their money on day one in equity. The money came in extremely quickly. So these lessons are, yes, you have to have the skills, the acumen, all those things, but you're going to raise at the quality of the assets you're raising for. So what I look for is the best partners that can bring the best deals to the table, so I can go to high net worth individuals, family offices, institutions, whatever the level is that we need to raise, and bring them the right deal so we can get it over the finish line.
Yeah. You mentioned the relationships, and it's something that I didn't learn early enough, and I'm still learning, is that's what this is all about. You can, the quote is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And
absolutely,
just, geez Louise, how many times it shows up. It's like, man, if we had just brought somebody in to do that, it would have been, we'd be 10 times where we're at right now. You mentioned having the great deals, but you also mentioned earlier the impact, the mission behind the deals. And are you seeing that? It seems like to me that is a big component of this. Is like, yeah, I can get 12%, I can get 12%, or whatever, but I'm getting 12% or better, and I'm also making this impact on senior living, or the school shootings are really close to my heart. Sorry, I think there was a question in there. Was there not a question in there?
I don't know. It kind of like froze up on me for a second.
With the like, is the impact a big component for you? Is it really your investors, these people are really just looking for the numbers?
Well, impact comes in several different ways, right? When in the Heartland Food days, we would do meal matches, and every meal you bought from us, we provided one to Feeding America. I mean, we fed hundreds of thousands, probably millions of people. Like that felt great. But part of that mission was the people who could afford it, that were investing, for a premium product with us. Well, their kids were eating healthier food. We're getting junk out of their house. Like that was the impact, that I wanted to have. And now on the capital raising side, yes, the company needs to do good in the world. There needs to be good impact. Like even on a big real estate project in Chattanooga, like we're solving a student housing problem there in the project. We're building luxury condos for wealthy people. There's subdivision. There's going to be this beautiful downtown, all these things, right? Impact comes in different ways. In Safe Space, obviously, the impact of the product and what it's going to have on the world. But for me, as like what my chief responsibility is in the business, it is to return value to shareholders. So the fact that in 6 months, for all of our insiders, there's about 100 people that invested at 10 cents, and the stock is now over $1, which means, people who trusted me, I was able to help turn into Safe Space millionaires in 6 months. There's a good amount of people in there that $1 million is nothing to them. But there's a lot of people that's life-changing impact for their family. And that makes me feel incredible, as a capital raiser, capitalist, investor. I think in terms of impact for me to put on my resume, hey, I just created 100 millionaires in 6 months. Like that feels pretty cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I see where you're saying. Some people that the $1 million isn't that big of a deal. Jesus. The impact may be, hey, I'm helping the needy, whatever the needy may be. For other people's, the impact may be, you have taken my family into a different stratosphere than we had imagined before. And a friend of mine who's been on the podcast, Michael Manatsakanyan, who I talked to a little while back about how he gives back. I just want to make as much money as I can, and then that way I can donate to the places where I find passionate about. And so that's a different impact. Even as you were saying that, I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's so many different ways that impact is created. Let's stay with the Safe Space Global. What are the struggles? What are the hurdles that you need to overcome right now to get to where you guys are trying to go?
Yeah, it's growing pains. We're growing incredibly quickly. We're up to 80 team members. We've got offices all around the world now: India, Singapore. Theo Davies was recruited to be our chief revenue officer, and I believe, hope I'm getting that right. He's had a couple titles, but essentially he's rolling out our global sales initiative, and he was the head of sales enablement at Google. You know, like overseeing all of JPA, all of Asia. That guy left a monster position to come join this company, exited stock there to invest in the company. So, when you have people in seats like that, our CFO has gone from founder to public 3 or 4 times. Scott, our CEO, has gone from founder to public several times. You look at all the people on this team, and when you're in a massive growth phase right now, like Anand, our CTO, is one of the most established, distinguished developers in the world. Had a company, exited for $1.5 billion, right, in the tech space, and he wants to be a part of this. These are all people who don't need money. They're doing this for impact, for really to create something bigger than we've all built before. And Scott's mission, he took Miller Energy from founder to public up to a $950 million market cap back in 2011, 2012. And, that's his benchmark. He's like, this time, this company goes over $1 billion. Yeah. And, when you've done it before, you can do it again. It's like anything else. So, but the struggles and challenges are, we're recruiting a ton of salespeople. We're, recruiting all the supply chains for fulfillment. And then you've got, all the logistics around what need to happen, and the filings, and how hard you have to work to uplist, and the finance side of applying to be on the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ. So it's all daily challenges, but it's really exciting to work on all this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can hear it in the way you talk about it. This isn't just, I'm not just going out and talking about this company because that's my role here. It's like, I'm doing something. And people noticed it with me when I shouldn't say stop talking about real estate, but started talking about the busy dad, health and wellness. Like, hey, you should continue down that pathway, right? You're definitely in more alignment with this now. So, what if it sounds like you've got your hands in a lot of different pots, right? What habits, maybe daily, weekly, do you do to keep track of everything, to make sure that you're putting your time in the right places?
Yeah, I'm incredibly anal about my calendar. Like if you schedule a meeting with me and don't send me a calendar invite, or like, it doesn't exist, right? I live and die by the calendar. It's sometimes every 15 minutes, 30 minutes, hour blocks. And I'm just a wake up and then execute and then go to bed. And it's all areas of life. I've kind of designed my days when I'm home here in Vegas. I like to have a morning work session and an afternoon work session. So I usually start, because, people on the East Coast, it's 9 a.m. there, it's 6 a.m. here. So my first meetings are usually 6 a.m., 7 a.m. here on the West Coast. I'm up at 5 a.m. latest every day. And then you just start executing. And then around midday, I get a meal in, I go to the gym, sauna, cold plunge, that like reset part of the day. And then all afternoon, work on whatever needs to be worked on. And then it might be an investor dinner that night. It might be a networking event. I mean, my entire life is part of work, and it doesn't feel like it, because the whole time I was building that first business, Heartland Foods, with my dad, it was a great business, but I didn't enjoy the day to day. And I kind of reverse engineered what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. I love networking. I love people. I love the, let's say, revenue side of things, marketing, sales. I was like, how do I create a life where that's literally all I do, and I get paid and enjoy it? Yeah. Dinners with wealthy people coming into town, that's great. Like, I get to do that on a daily basis now. And that's my life. It's a ton of fun. Yeah.
It's that cliche one, the phrase that butcher it. When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life, something along those lines. And the reason that I say cliche is because if you aren't living that, it sounds cliche, but as soon as you get into that, it's like, oh no, there's a reason this saying is here, right? There's so many of them. They come up on Networking with Nathaniel all the time. It's just, it sounds cliche until you're experiencing it. And then you're like, oh, okay.
There's a caveat to that though. Like
Okay, let's hear it.
yeah, like it sounds great, but most people should not do that in the beginning. Like that's good advice for me where I am, but I had to eat shit for 10 years doing shit I didn't want to do to get here, right? Like you don't just get to step into your perfect ideal life. You're going to have to play where you are at that time. And if you can be unemotional to what you're doing, like you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. Like now it's like I'm tired. I've been at an event all day. I got to fly and do a podcast and then take a red eye, and it might not be sleeping. It might be like, that's the kind of stress I'm under now. You know, or the stock's down 30% and there's 150 investors calling me. I got to work through those challenges. Like there's always going to be challenges, right? It's not always going to be a ton of fun, but in the beginning, it's like wherever you are, go all out on that. You have to crave the end result, not care about what you're doing. And you'll earn the right to go do what you want to do later in life. I mean, that's just the path for most of us, because if you go into your passion off the bat, like if that's how you make the decision, you're more than likely going to struggle a lot in the beginning because you don't have resources to make your passion work. Like until, like, it's just my personal opinion, until you have $1 million net worth, a couple $100,000 sitting in cash, like you should prioritize making money in the fastest vehicle that's going to get you there. Whether you love it or not is irrelevant. Like, because you need to develop the discipline and the muscle to do things you hate if you're ever going to get to do the things that you love.
Yeah. There's a piece of your brain wired around that. Do the difficult things, the things you don't enjoy, that actually have been shown to lead to a longer lifespan. The more stuff that you do that you're not the biggest fan of, it challenges you and pushes you the longer you live.
There's neuroscience research on this, that your brain only grows and expands when you're doing something you don't want to do. Like it needs to be painful for you to get progress. It's kind of like if I go to the gym, like I love going to the gym. It's like a habit of mine that doesn't do anything for my brain growth now because I actually like it. Like if I hated going to the gym, there would be a ton of mental growth from that.
Yeah. So what do you, that's a great question. That's a great segue here. What are you doing right now to push that? The gym ain't it. What is the thing that you're not enjoying that's kind of growing that brain?
I think it's just pushing my schedule. You know, taking on more responsibility. You know, when I think I'm maxed out on capacity and efficiency, it's a lie for all of us, right? You will never max out your capacity and then the efficiency of within those micro blocks. So, I mean, I'm trying to get 1% more efficient every day. It's like, oh, if I can handle this, I can handle this. And now that's like when people look at me and they're like, well, how can you operate in 3 or 4 different businesses at the same time and have a personal life and take care of your body and all this stuff? And the reality is I've been diligently working on building capacity and efficiency for 15 years. And that's why there's just 2 types of people. There's people who can barely handle the 9 to 5, right? And they need a vacation from their life every weekend, by the way. Like that's what a weekend is. Yeah. Like think about that for a second. Yeah. Right. And then there's people who just, you look at them and they're like, how do you do all this stuff? You're Superman. It's like, no, they built that and they weren't running away from their life on the weekends.
Yeah. The weekend thing is something I struggle with because, you know, as I've been getting deeper into faith, there's the day of rest, and it goes with that. If you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. Is like, I rest every day, right? I get nourishment out of the vision that I'm going after, the dreams that I'm going after. So I get rest. I get to spend time with my kids. I've worked that into my schedule. Did it happen overnight, like you're saying? Well, yeah, not like you're saying. You said it didn't happen overnight. You've been working at it, right? No, it doesn't happen overnight. It takes some time. And so I love that. You have to have that kind of, I don't want to say balance, but knowing where you're at and knowing what is required of you. I have some prepared questions that are a little bit more fun. I want to make sure we're cognizant of time here as we're reaching the top of our hour. What's the biggest life lesson you've learned, Justin, and how have you learned it?
Yeah, the biggest lesson I've learned is the things that we are scared of, the things that we think are a big deal, um, are literally just your frame of reference at that time.
Mm,
So the faster you can fail, it's like the opposite mentality of what I had the first 10 years. It was, invest slowly, small incremental growth, protect it, never have losses. The reality is if you want to end up in a place of outlier magnitude in any area, you need to fail hard, fail fast. And it's like it mentally, I used to see people, especially entrepreneurs, like the skill set that makes it is the opposite that protects it. So
mm,
every single person that's created something big has a gigantic failure, a gigantic loss. There are
yeah.
zero exceptions to this. And I tried to be the guy who didn't have that. I wanted to be the exception. And then I had my first big loss. Our fund lost over $10 million. And it was the most horrific thing I've ever been through. And on the back end of it, it's been 2 years. And the person that I've become through that process and my ability to go even 10 times higher and harder now was worth every penny of loss.
Yeah.
So you have to, I wish for everyone who has not had a gigantic failure, I hope you go through it. Like, I really hope you go through a gigantic loss,
Yeah.
because that's where you will finally get to look in the mirror and figure out who you are, what you're
Mm,
capable of. Do you quit? Do you get back on the horse and go get it? Because when you get back to where you were, or even halfway back to where you were, it's going to feel completely different. You're going to respect it at a different level. You're going to have a whole different hubris to you and the way you
mm,
look at the world. So it's like you got to force that innovation on yourself. And who cares what your friends and family are going to say? Let them see you build something and then lose it all and go back into an apartment and then have them watch you build it again. It's like, I hope everyone goes through that, because it's
yeah.
very empowering to know that you're unbreakable, and you
Yeah.
won't know that until you've gone through something serious.
I forget what the name of the song is, but it was the last song that we had on our wedding night. It's like, I want to say it's One Republic. And he says, I hope that you fall. Like, I hope that you break your arm because you lived the life, and just like hoping for failure. I don't want you to go through the pain, but you have to go through it to become the person that you're becoming. And I have this theory with a child learning how to walk, that when they first start standing up, they fall on their butt. They're going backwards every time. And it's not until they learn that they can fall forwards and that they're safe that they are comfortable taking those steps. And so you're never going to get going until you realize you have to fall forward. You have to fail forward. And man, I've heard this fall forward, fail forward so much in my journey in entrepreneurship. And to connect those two pieces, like, it's innate in us as this human being. I can't take the step until I realize I gotta fall forward first. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
and most
yeah,
of the
that's
time
it.
you actually won't fall. It will
Yeah, yeah,
you will progress, and then you will fall, and then the
yeah,
faster you can cycle through, like win 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 failure, win 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 win
yeah,
failure, like you go up this ladder that other people just look at and say, how'd you end up there? I was able
yeah.
to take more pain and abuse than you. That's it.
Yep. What is you kind of already mentioned an exciting thing earlier. What's the most exciting thing you've done lately? It can be business, personal.
The most exciting thing is definitely seeing the safe space vision come together,
Mm,
and from someone who is an investor and started from single family homes to managing my own stock portfolio to investing in multi-family real estate, now to big development projects, to be able to be a few months away potentially from ringing the bell on the New York Stock Exchange and seeing my face on CNBC. That is
yeah.
just things that you don't even dream of, right? And it's happening. So that's by far the most exciting thing for me.
Yeah. So maybe in 6 months from now or 3 months from now, you're gonna have a similar version to that answer, but it'll be, now I'm realizing the ding, 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 or yeah, I
Yeah.
got that for you. Yeah. If you could have dinner with anybody throughout history, living, dead, living or gone, whatever, who would it be? What would you want to talk about?
This is so difficult. Like, there's just so many good answers, and
Yeah.
you know, I think I'd want to meet with some, like, I don't know. I'm gonna take a different take on this. Somebody evil, like
Oh.
try to get in the brain of like a Hitler or a, you
Mm.
know, or like a Genghis Khan, or like these extraordinarily misguided, or maybe they were. I mean, who knows, right? It's
Yeah.
like I would love to sit down across from somebody like that, or Truman, or like people that have had to make the most difficult decisions in history, or have made horrific decisions.
Right.
It's like, where do
Yeah.
you get to that? You know, like the sit with Warren Buffett thing sounds cool as an investor, but it's like, I don't know. He's just going to ask me a ton of questions and then just tell me that patience and time, and then you end up.
Yeah. I've heard what he has to say, kind of a thing.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it would be
Yeah.
incredible, but I think it would
Yeah.
be a wild experience to sit down with like Kim Jong-un, or like,
Yeah. Oh
you
man.
know,
Yeah. The Genghis Khan is interesting. Like, what were you thinking? Just, yeah.
yeah,
All
or
of it.
like Jesus, or like, these,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
something old and historic.
If you have any recommendations, books, podcasts that have moved your needle in business, personal life, fitness, whatever that may be.
Yeah, there's so many good ones. For an investor, if you want to be in the private placement world, you want to really be an investor that's not going to easily accessible, like S&P 500 dollar cost average, like, then just go read Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game. If you want to just be like a get rich for sure, slowly over time, that's a great approach, low stress. But for somebody like me, The Lifestyle Investor by Justin Donald, excellent book, because it goes more into the return of capital timelines and how you can compound the money faster in private placements. And the reality is you learn that the harder it is to access a deal, the more lucrative the returns can be. And the easier it is to access, the more public it is, the more diluted that product will be. So great book there. And then just foundationally, the whole Rich Dad, Poor Dad series. I mean, I've read every single one of those books front to back at least 10 times. And that's stuff I did in my early 20s that kind of set the stage for the entire trajectory of my life.
Yeah. I love that well, not necessarily in that order of progression, but there is a progression, right? I go to most people start with a Dave Ramsey. Get yourself safe first, and now you got to leave Dave. No disrespect, Mr. Ramsey, you're not listening. Who am I kidding? Yeah, you got to get out of Dave Ramsey. Now you move into the next step and the next step. So I love the progression there. Last question I like to ask. Well, actually, that's not true. There's two more questions. Where's the best place for people to reach out to you if they want to, learn more, if they're accredited, they want to learn more about getting invested in the stuff that you're doing, just follow you and kind of follow your journey?
Yeah, I mean, Instagram's the best place to get a hold of me. I'm on that platform all day long, DMing, chatting with people. So, yeah, it's at Justin Freishtat on all the social medias. The websites are pitchequityfund.com, safespaceglobal.ai, and then kmbizdev.com is our social media marketing business, and kearns.capital is our private equity and fund on that side. So yeah, I've got
plethora.
Let's say four different vehicles right now.
Yeah, is the Kearns with a K?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
KERNS.
Yeah, last question is like the drink. That might be for some people. There's a drink, Kearns. When your time on this earth, Justin, is done and you're wherever you believe you go to, what do you want to be remembered for by the people that you left behind?
I have a twisted take on legacy. So like fundamentally, I do believe that legacy is ego. I don't think about those things for the most part. I just think about how I operate in 24-hour blocks. And I just hope that anyone and everyone that I've had contact with in life, even if they hate me in the moment, I hope they respected that I told them what I really believed was best for them in the end. I just want to be known as a person that always operated with integrity, did what they said they were going to do. And if things go wrong, fight to the death for them. If they put their trust in me, and people that I, think need to develop, I tell them the truth. And, I just want to be known for that. And I'm getting better at that, like not sugarcoating. When someone is not just going to receive the information correctly, or they have more of a closed, fixed mindset, I just want to be able to give that value no matter what. But I guess I just want to be remembered as a solid dude.
I love that. Authenticity, genuine, honesty.
Yeah. Like I don't care to be remembered for how much money I made or didn't make, or how big the company was, or if I put my name on a building, or, if I, like, none of that matters to me. I do want to, put it all to zero at the end. And kind of like this whole argument on AI, it's like, I think good always beats evil in the end, because there's enough people who are going to do good with it. So whatever wealth I'm able to accumulate, I'm going to give it all to good places, and probably not say anything, because I don't want to be remembered for that, because to me, that's ego.
Right. I like that. That's a good perspective. Well, I appreciate you, Justin. I know that we're a couple minutes past here where our calendar event was, and like me, you're living by it. If you could at least leave the browser open so any uploading takes place, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming on, brother.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Justin Freishtat, amazing. I learned a handful of things there just from listening to him about the stock exchange and the going public. But man, he was really speaking to me and my journey social media wise right now. Be authentic, be genuine, be willing to say the hard thing. Like he said, it might hurt in the moment, but people will appreciate that over time, and it will lead to your brand growing with the people that you actually want to be connected to. A number of followers is just a number of followers. It's the amount of people that are actually connected to your journey and that you can connect with that really matter. This is a relationships. Entrepreneurship is a relationships business. That's what we are. It's growing our relationships. I appreciate y'all for being here. This was a pre-recorded episode. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already done so and you made it this far, there was something here. There's something that kept you here. Hit that thumbs up, like this video so we can reach more people, and put a comment in the description with one takeaway, something that you're going to do going forward so we can have a conversation ourselves. I would love to connect with more of you. As always, I appreciate you. We'll see you next week.